And so to make sure that they eat, they are force-fed, and nothing is worse than force-feeding a child, right? I think that's the point I want to make. That even if they're a picky eater, please don't force-feed, because it creates a sort of like conflict at meal times, such that the child begins to associate meal times with that conflict and torture. And so when they now see a plate and a spoon, they take off.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about picky eating in children. I'm sure most families do have at least one child that doesn't want to eat, or they're eating too much. But today we're talking about the child who doesn't want to eat at all. So sometimes when children are born, they could be born with small for gestational age, and they just kind of like follow the same curve. In pediatrics, we have those growth curves that we use to monitor children. And some children, they get to a certain age stage and they get extremely picky. So in the first year of life, parents say, "Oh, my child was eating vegetables and fruits." Then they became 2 years old and they're not interested in eating anything but pizza and just specific foods. And when we actually get worried is when we start seeing children coming flattening out on the growth curve. So if a child has been growing up along their nice curves, which we use in pediatrics, and then they start to flatten out, we start to get worried. So we usually like to go over different things. So a history is very important. Physical is very important. If we're seeing that a child is flattening out on the growth curve, we want to just go over a few things with the parents. Some children might have autism, and a lot of children are picked up with autism because a lot of children with autism, they only want to eat specific foods. They want to eat their pizza. Here in Nigeria, they want to drink their Bonvita and eat their bread and very limited foods. And if you change the food, they're not going to touch it. And you can jump up and down, scream, shout, force feed them. They'll look at you and they're not interested. So when you have a child who's a picky eater that is falling off the curve, please bring your child to see the pediatrician so that they can evaluate properly to find out what exactly is going on. And I'm going to open up the the dialogue to Dr. Zainab and then Dr. Rena. So please go ahead.
Okay, so I think all I'd probably want to add is a picky eater. So I had one in my family. So there's eight of us, 8 kids. Our number 7. All she wanted to eat just fries and fried meat. That's it.
Yeah.
That was her diet, So
see, that's keeping it real. Hey, right in our family.
My mom, she struggled, But I think she'll outgrow it eventually. So obviously, again, picky eater wise, then there's a loss of appetite. Could it be things like worms? Common things are common. So could it be worms? Treat for worms, and keep on top of the multivitamins. They need their vitamins, and vitamin B as well helps with the appetite as well. If the child has been assessed and nothing wrong with the child, nothing serious, then just make sure the multivitamins are in there, and just keep cajoling them. You may have to bribe them sometimes. I don't know. My mom did everything. But eventually she grew out of it. But it was a bit of a worry, because the nutritionist said her nails actually started changing color at a point. So it was a worry, really. But I said she grew out of it. And I think what helps as well, start introducing different foods early. Don't wait until they're 1.5 years before you start introducing carrots or other things, vegetables. Yeah. Introduce it so they get used to different foods early rather than later.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I think that's a great point that Dr. Mudashiru has made. In terms of introducing food as early as possible, try to make a variety present in their diet as early as possible. That being said, somebody jokingly said, in Nigeria, I said, how much food is there in Nigeria that you're picking? You're a picky eater in Nigeria? There's any food, eat, but of course, you still find that it cuts across every single socioeconomic strata. So you find picky eaters even in the low socioeconomic groups where you think, there isn't that much food, but that's why some grandmas actually force feed some children. These are children that are just not interested in what you're giving them. And so to make sure that they eat, they are force fed, and nothing is worse than force feeding a child, right? I think that's the point I want to make. That even if they're a picky eater, please don't force feed, because it creates a sort of like conflict at meal times, such that the child begins to associate meal times with that conflict and torture. And so when they now see a plate and a spoon, they take off.
Yeah.
So what I'd say is, please, I know it's difficult. Avoid making special meals for them, because at the end of the day, it's going to be more stressful on the entire family. So find ways in which you can hide stuff that they might not like. Blend the carrots, blend the peas, mix it in the pasta so that they don't know exactly that it's that food that they are having. Yeah, so that might actually be able to help. And all the best.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting points. Sometimes the texture of the food, a child, you can cut up broccoli or cut up cabbage or carrots and present it to them. They don't want it. But if you blend that carrot with mango or pineapple and bananas, you blend everything, they will know that, okay, this looks good.
This looks good.
And you put a fancy straw. I tell them, go and get all those fancy straws. They will drink that smoothie thinking it's even ice cream. You can say, oh, this is your homemade ice cream. You can give it names.
Yeah.
You're not really lying. Well,
They're not.
not really lying, because some people call smoothies ice cream.
They're not.
Sherbet or a special name.
Mm.
Homemade sherbet.
Oh yes, or gelato.
Or mango ice cream, whatever, So some children will eat the pureed form of the food, but they don't eat the whole food.
The whole
You
food.
just have to be creative. And then, if some children only like pasta or indomie with the sauce, you can cut up your cabbage and vegetables into that sauce and make sure that it's all hidden in the ingredients, and they can end up eating healthy. But that point that you raised about vitamins, very important, because if they are vitamin deficient, then at least if they're taking supplements, that can help.
Yeah.
That helps.
But I think, we all agree, children tend to get better with time. Some people never.
Some people never.
Yeah.
Those are picky eaters.
Yes,
True.
and they will remain size 2 for the rest of their lives, which is okay, and that's just genetics sometimes. But I think it's important for parents to not force feed. And thank you for everything that you've contributed. Okay. All right. So next time we're going to be talking about other topics, but thank you for subscribing and thank you for listening. Have a good one.